We'll begin with the latest situation in Manipur, where the Manipur government has issued shoot-at-sight orders as violence in the state spread to its capital, Imphal. Now, what we have learned is that security has been strengthened. This is just one of the many pictures that are coming in. Absolutely horrifying situation in the state, even as we speak, with the deployment of 55 army columns. Yes, the army has been deployed. Around 500 personnel of the Rapid Action Force, which is a riot control police, have also been flown in, which you can see in these pictures. They have joined the army, Assam Rifles, as well as the Central Reserve Police Force, which is the CRPF, and the state police. So a three-level security cordon in the state. They have all, in fact, been struggling to contain the violence that started on Wednesday. Now, over the last days, there have been multiple appeals for peace as visuals of houses and shops on fire flooded social media. Curfew has also been imposed in many districts. Mobile internet services have also been suspended across the state. Now, the violence started during a protest march by tribals against the Manipur High Court order backing the inclusion of non-tribal Meiteis in the list of scheduled tribes. Ratnadeep now joins us with all the latest. Ratnadeep, we'll get to the latest situation in just a short moment, but for the benefit of our viewers, can you please tell us why exactly all of this happened in detail?
Well, the recent trigger is definitely the High Court's order allowing the Manipur government to send a recommendation to centre to include the Meitei community, which is the largest community in the state, in the scheduled tribe list. Now, why this is contentious? This is contentious because if you look at Manipur's geography, the state is divided into two distinct regions, the valley region and the hill region. The valley region is actually just above 10% of the total landmass of the state, and it is dominated by the Meitei community, whereas the hill region is about 90% of the total landmass, and it is dominated by different recognized tribal groups like the Nagas, the Kukis, and the smaller groups like the Jomis. And what happens here is that the tribe, the Meiteis who live in the valleys, are not allowed to purchase land in the hill region, which is the 90% area of the state. But if they become scheduled tribes, then what will happen? They will also have land rights access to the tribal areas, or that there is such apprehensions among the tribals, because we don't know how, even if the Meiteis are declared as scheduled tribes, what will be the fallout? It is not still clear. But what is important here, there has been fear among the particularly the tribals of infringement into their rights. This is the backdrop, and in this backdrop, remember, there has been in past ethnic flare-ups were there in Manipur in past as well. But in the last, for the first term of Biren Singh, he was able to bring in sustained peace. There was a time when Manipur would see buns and blockades, particularly in the hill areas, but those were reduced, almost became a thing of past. So this is in his second term that when Biren Singh came to power, basically, he had tried to move in some measures, particularly measures like a forest survey where the forest land were surveyed, and in fact there were evictions in some of the areas in the forest land. The government said that there are new villages which have come up in the government land, whereas the tribal said that it was harassment of the tribals. There were the state government tried to work out of a ceasefire agreement with at least a few of the tribal rebel groups, which did not go down well with the tribals. And then for the past 1 year, the state government has been carrying out a drive against illegal poppy cultivation. Remember, opium cultivation is huge, particularly in the hill areas. Now that is related to the local livelihood of a lot of people. So there were reasons for the tribals to be miffed with the government, but the problem is that although the Meiteis are majority and stay in a limited area, they have more political power, with 40 of the 60 seats dominated by the Meiteis, and the reserve seats are only 20. So So this has been a bone of contention and an ethnic fault line in Manipur for years together. But what has happened now with High Court allowing the state government to actually recommend center for inclusion of the Meiteis as scheduled tribe, this has perhaps opened up those old fault lines. And
yes, and the result is for us to see an absolutely disturbing situation of 55 army columns. In fact, a lot of police force, 3 levels of security, which is trying to contain the violence on the streets right now. It's not a favorable or a pleasant picture right now in Manipur. And the Chief Minister, as well as people who have done Manipur proud, like MC Mary Kom, all are appealing for calm. Let's listen into the reactions.
Long-term grievances of communities will also be suitably addressed in due course in consultation with the people and their representative organizations. In this hour, I appeal to one and all to maintain peace and harmony in your respective areas. I urge you not to believe in rumors and unverified messages. I also apprise the present situation that it was because of the misunderstanding and communication gap between the two communities. We are having around 35 communities together here since time immemorial. Incident which was taken place yesterday was due to misunderstanding and some communication gap, and now everything has been settled and will be normalized very soon.
अभी ये सिचुएशन अभी बहुत बुरा हाल हो रहा है और मैं बहुत अच्छा फील नहीं कर रही हूँ एक्चुअली बहुत बुरा फील कर रही हूँ कि अभी ये वायलेंस अचानक मैं सोच भी नहीं पाया ऐसे अचानक कैसे हो रहा है करके और ये कल रात से लेके बहुत भयंकर मतलब वो ज्यादा हो रहा है और मुझे चाहती हूँ कि हो सकता है तो जल्दी से जल्दी स्टेट गवर्नमेंट और सेंट्रल गवर्नमेंट कुछ करे.
News now from the SCO summit. India's External Affairs Minister S. Jaishankar's meeting with the Russian Foreign Minister has concluded in Goa. It lasted for around 1 hour and 15 minutes, so fairly long. He's currently in a meeting with his Chinese counterpart. Now, this is happening in the backdrop of the claimed assassination bid of President Putin and the ongoing friction in eastern Ladakh with China. So these two meetings are extremely significant, extremely important. All right, now let's get you an update from Uttar Pradesh, where tough action has now been taken, at least the comment that was made by the UP Chief Minister, that he will raise people to the ground. It seems that there is some action happening. A fresh encounter took place where another Don, another gangster, has now been neutralized. The police say that this was in an action because there was retaliation from the gangster and he had to be neutralized as there was no other option. This was a hot pursuit being carried out by the Uttar Pradesh STF. With the death of Anil Dujana, UP police claims that they've been able to neutralize one more gangster when he was trying to flee. Saurabh Shukla now joins us with all the latest. Saurabh, can you tell us the circumstances in which this encounter took place?
Anil Dujana was trying to flee from Uttar Pradesh, and UP STF got his location. They started following him. As you've mentioned, he was a dreaded criminal. There are 62 cases against Anil Dujana, including 18 cases of murder. And Sanket, he he terrorized whole West UP in 2011 when in a gang war against Sundar Bhati came to attend a wedding in Gautam Budh Nagar and along with his two of associates, Anil Dujana went to that marriage to kill Sundar Bhati, and he started firing towards Sundar Bhati with AK-47, and in that incident, three of close Sundar Bhati's shooters were murdered, and later in retaliation, Sundar Bhati murdered brother of Anil Dujana. So he was a part of a massive gang war between Anil Dujana and Sundar Bhati. He recently got out of Ayodhya jail, and after that he started threatening witnesses, and according to UPSCF, a wife of a witness filed a complaint with UP police regarding the threat calls from Anil Dujana, and then UP police started tracking Anil Dujana, and then today when he was trying to flee from Uttar Pradesh, a team of SCF tracked, and when they tried to stop him, Anil Dujana started firing upon SCF team from his automatic pistol, and in retaliatory fire, Anil Dujana was killed. So another gangster come down, neutralized by UPSCF, and as I've said, he was a dreaded criminal, more than 62 cases against him. He was jailed in 2012 after the murder of three close shooters of Sundar Bhati, and he was in jail till 2021. In 2021, he came out of the jail and started extorting money from several industrialists in West UP, in Delhi, in Haryana, and in Rajasthan as well. So there were several cases against him, and today this all happened in afternoon around between 3 and 3:30. So UP police is saying it is as a big accomplishment, as ADG UPSCF Amitabh Yash said that their encounter is totally legitimate, and they have all the details. They have recovered 2 automatic pistols from Anil Dujana. He was in his white Scorpio, and they are ready to face any inquiry because this whole encounter is totally legal. So end of another gangster in Uttar Pradesh. Sanket.
Joining us with all the details, let's quickly also listen in to a reaction from the UP police.
अनिल दुजाना नामक बदमाश जो कि अभी कुछ दिनों पहले ही जेल से छूटा था, वो अपने साथियों से मिलने बागपत से मुजफ्फरनगर जा रहा है। इस सूचना पे हमारी स्पेशल टास्क फोर्स की टीम वहाँ मौके पे लगी थी। जब एसटीएफ टीम से आमना सामना हुआ तो उसने दूसरा रास्ता बदला और वहाँ उसकी गाड़ी टकरा गई। इसके बाद से बदमाशों की तरफ से फायरिंग हुई। लगभग 15 से 20 राउंड फायर बदमाशों की तरफ से हुई। प्रारंभिक सूचना के हिसाब से एसटीएफ की टीम ने भी फायरिंग की। इस फायरिंग में अनिल दुजाना घायल हुआ, जिसकी बाद में मृत्यु हो गई।
And now for the big succession question. After veteran political leader Sharad Pawar's stunning resignation as the chief of the Nationalist Congress Party, or the NCP, 2 days ago, could be answered tomorrow following a meeting in Mumbai. A committee appointed by Sharad Pawar to pick his successor after his resignation will meet at 11 a.m. at the party office in Mumbai. If Mr. Pawar remains firm on his decision, his daughter Supriya Sule is likely to become the party chief. We've got Saurabh Gupta now joining us with all the latest. Saurabh, what is the likelihood of this drama continuing even tomorrow? We've seen these pictures all through the day for the past 2 days. We saw them today also, where all the supporters of Sharad Pawar are forcing him, cajoling him to roll back his decision. What if this drama continues? I mean, it's 2 days already.
Well, Sanket, the possibility of it continuing is very high, given the fact that Sharad Pawar seems hell-bent on at least not having a rethink as far as the decision is concerned. He hasn't indicated of a rethink, though he's in the midst of a rethink. I don't think there's a rollback. That's pretty clear from at least the body language that one sees in the NCP camp. And speaking to sources, we understand that yes, Supriya Sule is likely to be nominated as his successor and is likely to take the position of the national president of the NCP, which is a position that Mr. Sharad Pawar has held since the inception of the NCP, when he broke away from the Congress and formed the party. But the fact is that we're all focusing on the succession plan, and this hinges on three people. Sharad Pawar, who said he wants to step down. Supriya Sule, who's likely to be the chosen successor. But you also have Ajit Pawar. Will he accept this or will he bolt? These are questions that, of course, that the NCP cannot answer at this point, and there's immense speculation over Ajit Pawar's future, because while Supriya Sule may become national president of the NCP, the question really is that who and what role and how is Ajit Pawar placated? And, although the NCP says that the chief ministerial face of the Mahavikas Aghadi could be Ajit Pawar, he is the leader of opposition in Maharashtra. NCP is the largest party in the alliance, and therefore he should be projected as the chief ministerial face. In spite of all of that, will Ajit Pawar also agree to this? That is a big question.
Yeah, I was meaning to ask you this question about Mr. Ajit Pawar and this news of him perhaps being the NCP's chief minister face, and this new spin. Obviously, in the context of Maharashtra, a lot is being spoken about projecting Ajit Pawar as the chief ministerial face. I want to ask you this question, Saurabh. Where is the need? How does the NCP feel that there is a need that is arising for there to exist, space for an Ajit Pawar to be the chief minister?
The NCP succession plan, Sanket, really depends on two planks. One is, of course, pushing and elevating Supriya Sule to the national stature party leader who looks after national affairs, has contacts in parliament beyond the NCP, speaks to other parties, is capable of holding discussions with other parties across the country, all of those things. But Ajit Pawar is being projected as the NCP's leader in the state. In the state of Maharashtra, it's Ajit Pawar's word. So, if there is a possibility that the NCP gets a chance to get to the chief minister's office, if it gets a shot at that, it is going to be Ajit Pawar, is what they are saying. But again, the big question is, does Ajit Pawar agree? And nobody knows whether he does or not. He seems to insist he's with the NCP and that he's going to stay there. But the political winds and political speculation about him bolting don't seem to end.
All right. Thank you very much, Saurabh. And all the best for tomorrow. Let's see whether you get some idea on what the succession plan is, or is this drama going to continue? Thank you very much for joining us. Let's get you some updates from Karnataka. These pictures that you see on your screen right now are of protests. Now, these protests are taking place in Karnataka. And the reason why these protests are taking place is because of the Congress party, including in its manifesto, that they will ban the Bajrang Dal if they come back to power in Karnataka. Now, all through the day in the state of Karnataka, we saw various members of the Vishwa Hindu Parishad and other affiliate organizations holding Hanuman Chalisa, reciting the Hanuman Chalisa, also protesting, and these protests spread beyond Karnataka. We could see some violence being reported in Madhya Pradesh as well. The big question is, while all of this is happening, and the Congress appears a little confused because we are seeing and hearing some conflicting signals within the Congress party on the decision to include the banning of Bajrang Dal in the manifesto. What exactly is going to be the outcome of this? Will this mean perhaps some sort of political revival of the BJP? Because the BJP has already started using this as a big poll issue in Karnataka. Or will this gamble of the Congress party in disassociating or dehyphenating Bajrang Dal from Bajrang Bali, the god, actually going to pay off? That is going to be very interesting to see. In the meanwhile, Congress General Secretary Priyanka Gandhi Vadra visited the ancient Kanakagiri temple in Karnataka's Vijayanagara, Meanwhile, Congress State President D.K. Shiv Kumar offered prayers to Lord Hanuman in Chamundeshwari Temple in Mysuru. Moving on now, a caste-based survey is being conducted by the Bihar government, championed by Chief Minister Nitish Kumar as a move to help the disadvantaged. Now, this survey has been put on hold by the Patna High Court today. The state government is likely to challenge the order in the Supreme Court. Hearing a batch of petitions challenging its validity, the court directed the government to immediately stop the caste-based survey and ensure that the data already collected is secured and not shared with anybody until the final orders are passed. It will hear the case next on the 7th of July.
देख लीजिए कि हाउस में कैसे पास हुआ, सब लोगों ने सर्वसम्मति से किया। तो आप सोच लीजिए, और एक बार जो हम लोग सब पार्टी की मीटिंग हुई और नहीं वो माने तो यहाँ पर भी कर दिए। सब पार्टी के हम लोग मतलब कि आप समझिए 9 पार्टी जितने हैं विधानसभा विधान परिषद सबकी।
All right, so that's a wrap in this edition of Newsbreak, but news continues on the other side. Stay with us.
This is NDTV. No noise, no shouting, and most importantly, no lies. Our lead story tonight. Big international story, India is closely watching it. News that informs and inspires.
The news with Sonia Singh, Monday to Friday at 8 p.m. only on NDTV 24/7.
The only side we're on is yours.
Gadgets 360 is here to help you with all your tech needs.
Gadget 360, Gadget Love. Gadgets 360, Gadgets Love.
You too can get some gadget love with buying guides, expert reviews, and all the latest news on Gadgets 360.
20 years since we started, this music has been with you. Now, we want you to share your version of it. Let your inner artists out by creating an incredible remix of the NDTV signature track. Log on to ndtv.com/bestofndtv. Get inspired and submit your rendition. One winner gets an all-expense paid holiday for 2. NDTV 24/7 20th year celebration.
Debates are essential not just for journalism but for humanity. It ignites our mind, opens it up for counter-opinion. To hear all views, opinion of all hues. Which is why the oldest running debate show on Indian news television is not 23 years old, but young at 23.
इस इनिशिएटिव को मैं अभिनंदन करता हूं कि सच को सच के रूप में पेश करने का उन्होंने साहस दिखाया।
So let us begin the big fight.
In a deeply polarized world, where space for disagreement is shrinking, where take it or leave it defines discourse, we take a step back. A debate has many facets, perhaps no one right answer. Left, right and center, conversations that get to the core of the debate. Left, right and center with me, Vishnu Shom, 9 p.m. on NDTV 24/7.
20 years since we started, this music has been with you, playing in your homes, at work, and in your car. Now, we want you to share your version of it. Calling all music buffs from across India to let your inner artists out by creating an incredible remix of the NDTV signature track for the world to hear. Log on to ndtv.com/bestofndtv to access the original track. Get inspired and submit your rendition. One winner gets an all-expense paid holiday for 2 to the luxurious Alila Fort, Bishangarh, Rajasthan. NDTV 24/7 20th year celebrations.
This is NDTV. No noise, no shouting, and most importantly, no lies. Our lead story tonight. big international story India is closely watching. And news that informs and inspires.
The news with Sonia Singh, Monday to Friday at 8 p.m. only on NDTV 24/7.
The only side we're on is yours.
Gadgets 360 is here to help you with all your tech needs.
Gadget 360, Gadget Love. Gadgets 360, Gadgets Love.
You too can get some gadget love with buying guides, expert reviews, and all the latest news on Gadgets 360.
20 years since we started, this music has been with you. Now, we want you to share your version of it. Let your inner artists out by creating an incredible remix of the NDTV signature track. Log on to ndtv.com/best of NDTV. Get inspired and submit your rendition. One winner gets an all-expense paid holiday for two. NDTV 24/7 20th year celebration.
Debates are essential not just for journalism but for humanity. It ignites our mind, opens it up for counter opinion. To hear all views, opinion of all hues. Which is why the oldest running debate show on Indian news television is not 23 years old, but young at 23.
इस इनिशिएटिव को मैं अभिनंदन करता हूं कि सच को सच के रूप में पेश करने का उन्होंने साहस दिखाया.
So let us begin the big fight. In a deeply polarized world, where space for disagreement is shrinking, where take it or leave it defines discourse, we take a step back. A debate has many facets, perhaps no one right answer. Left, right and center, conversations that get to the core of the debate. Left, right and center with me, Vishnu Shom, 9 p.m. on NDTV 24/7.
Years since we started, this music has been with you, playing in your homes, at work, and in your car. Now, we want you to share your version of it. Calling all music buffs from across India to let your inner artists out by creating an incredible remix of the NDTV signature track for the world to hear. Log on to ndtv.com/best of NDTV to access the original track. Get inspired and submit your rendition. One winner gets an all-expense paid holiday for two to the luxurious Alila.
Good evening, it's 8 o'clock. The top headlines tonight. There's shoot-at-sight orders in Manipur as central forces flown in for reinforcements. The Home Minister called the Chief Minister Biren Singh. The fight is over. The Meitei group being included in a scheduled tribe list. Olympic medalist Mary Kom also appeals for intervention. The Pawar succession formula, the NDTV exclusive. The father is all set to hand his political legacy to his daughter. Sharad Pawar adamant that he won't take back his resignation, and Supriya Sule is said to be the NCP's new national chief. Ajit Pawar is likely to be the Maharashtra chief minister face. The foreign minister meets China's foreign minister in a bilateral. India's strong message to China. Friction in Ladakh on for 3 years now. 2 border friction points still remain unresolved. Meanwhile, the first Pakistan foreign minister in India in 7 years, Bilawal Bhutto, but India maintains no bilateral. Still, cross-border terror backed by Pakistan continues. Midnight scuffles and tears at the site of the wrestlers' protests in Delhi, but no court intervention. The fight apparently over beds being brought for wrestlers in the rain. The Supreme Court says the FIR has now been filed with the Delhi police. The case is closed for them. They can appeal in local courts or a high court. Unbelievable weather. There's fog in Delhi in May. Also the lowest temperatures in 40 years. This is temperatures in Himachal and Uttarakhand are up by 4 to 7 degrees. And all hail the king. Dress rehearsal for coronation weekend. But there's still some disquiet. Rishi Sunak will play a crucial role as Prime Minister during the coronation ceremony. But here's what young British Indians think of the coronation.
Virmani, I have Pranav Bhanot there, and I have Maya, who are young British Indians.
Our lead story, the situation is tense in Manipur, with the government issuing shoot-at-sight orders in Manipur for extreme cases. This came as there's fresh violence in the capital Imphal, and the army was called in to prevent any further violence erupting. Central forces also flown in. The dispute arose over the Meitei group's scheduled tribe status.
Violence spread to Manipur's capital Imphal today and some other areas. Shoot-at-sight orders have been given by the government. About 500 personnel of the Rapid Action Force, a riot control police, have been flown in. They join other forces, the Army, Assam Rifles and CRPF, apart from the state police. However, the Chief Minister earlier in the day said the situation was normalizing. He also spoke to the Union Home Minister Amit Shah and apprised him of the developing situation.
Incident which was taken place yesterday was due to misunderstanding and some communication gap, and now everything has been settled and will be normalized very soon.
Clashes erupted on Wednesday between the non-tribal Meitei and a couple of tribal groups. It began after a march by tribal groups against a recent High Court order essentially backing scheduled tribe status to Meiteis who are non-tribals. The opposition is criticizing the BJP-led ruling alliance.
I have already explained to you, we have already sent cross message to the Honorable Prime Minister and Honorable Home Minister. Also, the same copy was endorsed to Her Excellency, the Governor of Manipur, who is representative President of Supreme Commander of India. So we request her immediately intervene. Please help us for enable us to bring complete peace here in Manipur.
The Army and Assam Rifles have already been conducting flag marches. Over 9,000 people have been moved to safer places. The government is yet to reveal the extent of the violence, especially casualties and arrests.
We'll be tracking that story closely. Meanwhile, the other big headline, and this is the Pawar succession formula accessed by NDTV. Sharad Pawar is adamant that he will stick to his resignation as NCP chief, and his daughter Supriya Sule is likely to be the NCP's new boss. He's likely to hand over his political legacy to her nationally, but what's key is that nephew Ajit Pawar will now be the Maharashtra chief ministerial face of the opposition alliance. This, as the NCP has said, that they're now the largest party in the opposition alliance, and Sharad Pawar is likely to stay chairman of the MVA.
Sharad Pawar speaking directly to protesting NCP workers after Tuesday's surprise announcement that he will step down as NCP chief.
की निर्देशावर ठेवून बाहेरून आलेल्या सहकार्याला विश्वासात घेऊन अंतिम निर्णय हा येत्या 1 ते 2 दिवसामध्ये करण्याची भूमिका घेऊ. पण ती घेत असताना नागरिकांच्या मनाची जी भावना आहे ती दुर्लक्षित केली जाणार नाही. एवढंच या ठिकाणी आता सांगतो. 2 दिवसाच्या नंतर तुम्हाला असं बसावं लागणार नाही.
Daughter Supriya Sule also appealed to protesting NCP workers to give her father time. But sources have told NDTV that Sule could be chosen as his successor to lead the party. Supriya Sule, who's widely tipped to be in Sharad Pawar's position, or at least the national president of the NCP, if Sharad Pawar does not reconsider his decision to resign, is now meeting protesters at the YB Chavan Center, and she's appealing to protesters to call off their protest at this point with folded hands. You can see Supriya Sule. In fact, the protesters are telling her, ma'am, we will sit here. Despite Supriya Sule's appeals, NCP workers remained unmoved, showing letters written in blood asking Sharad Pawar to reconsider.
The committee appointed by NCP Chief Sharad Pawar will meet on Friday, and this, as per our sources, will be the first step of Supriya Sule's succession as the next NCP president. Several leaders off record, and in fact some of them on record, have been endorsing Sule as the national president of NCP. But the big question for the NCP is, will Ajit Pawar bolt?
Two of the contenders have ruled themselves out, State NCP Chief Jayant Patil and Senior NCP Leader Praful Patel. That leaves MP Supriya Sule and Maharashtra's Leader of Opposition and Sharad Pawar's nephew, Ajit Pawar.
देशात दिल्लीत बसणाऱ्या, लोकसभेत किंवा राज्यसभेत काम करणाऱ्या आणि देश काही वर्ष संसदेत बसून बघणाऱ्या व्यक्तीने अशा जबाबदाऱ्या पार पाडायच्या असतात. पवार साहेबांना तो अनुभव आहे, म्हणून पवार साहेब यशस्वीपणाने देशभर राष्ट्रवादी काँग्रेस वाढवण्याचं ते काम करू शकले.
Sources say there is no announcement expected to create a post for Ajit Pawar as Supriya Sule is elevated. But the NCP is in talks with other allies like the Congress and the Uddhav Thackeray faction of the Shiv Sena to accept the NCP's claim to project Ajit Pawar as the chief ministerial face of the Maharashtra Vikas Aghadi, as the NCP is the biggest party in the alliance and Ajit Pawar is the leader of the opposition. And with speculation that Ajit Pawar might be headed towards the BJP, there is possibility of even a split, which the NCP wants to avoid by placating Ajit Pawar.
पहिलं त्यांची पक्षांतर्गत जी काही घडामोड आहे त्यांना शेवटी अधिकार आहे त्यांच्या मनाप्रमाणे काय करण्याचा. दुसऱ्या कार्यकर्त्यांना सुद्धा त्यांच्यावरती तेवढाच अधिकार आहे. कार्यकर्त्याचा सुद्धा आपल्या नेत्यावरती तेवढाच अधिकार असतो जसा नेत्याचा कार्यकर्त्यावरती असतो. त्याच्यामुळे ते त्यांना मला असं वाटतं ते सगळ्यांच्या हिताचा जो काय असेल तोच निर्णय ते घेतील. आणि दुसरी गोष्ट काय मी सल्ला कसा देणार त्यांना. आता थांबा ना, उद्या 5 वाजेपर्यंत ते काही निर्णय घेतात ना. आपण हे करण्याचं त्यांचं त्यांना.
The political uncertainty in the opposition camp is not likely to end even if the succession plan is cleared tomorrow. With Sohit Mishra and camera person G.D. Shankar, in Mumbai, Saurabh Gupta, NDTV.
The other big headline we're tracking tonight is the Shanghai Cooperation Organization's foreign ministers meeting in Goa. Of course, the Pakistan foreign minister here after 7 years, but what was also crucial was the meeting Indian Foreign Minister Jay Shankar had with his Chinese counterpart. Maha, what's the latest?
The latest really from Goa is that S. Jaishankar once again brought up the issue of the LAC and the unresolved friction points that we have seen in eastern Ladakh, which have remained unresolved for the last 3 years, saying that the border crisis needs to be resolved for bilateral ties to normalize between the two sides. This was pretty much on expected lines, Sonia, because last week we saw Rajnath Singh when he met his Chinese counterpart, General Xiaogo, for the SCO defense ministers meet. He too gave a very clear message to China that this is indeed required. External Affairs Minister also met with Sergei Lavrov. But the interesting part here is that Bilawal Bhutto Zardari, though he's traveling to India, and as you rightly mentioned, the first ministerial visit in 7 years, but he hasn't got the opportunity of a bilateral one-on-one with S. Jaishankar. Let's take a complete look at what transpired in Goa today and what we should be expecting tomorrow.
Foreign Minister S. Jaishankar held one-on-one meetings with both his Russian and Chinese counterparts. A week after Defence Minister Rajnath Singh's message to his counterpart on the adverse fallout of the border issue with China, now External Affairs Minister S. Jaishankar sending out a similar message from Goa. In over an hour-long meeting with Chin Gang, the two discussed the LAC issue. S. Jaishankar tweeted to say that the focus remains on resolving outstanding issues and ensuring peace and tranquility in the border areas. The friction in eastern Ladakh has been on for 3 years now, since the fatal clashes at Galwan. And yet, at least 2 border friction points, Demchok and Depsang, remain unresolved. Since there has been no disengagement on 2 friction points, there has been no de-escalation on the LAC, either with troops or with weapons amassed at the border. An hour and 15 minutes long meeting also took place between S. Jaishankar and Sergei Lavrov of Russia. The Russian side saying that the two sides agreed to continue following the course of building a fair, multipolar system of interstate relations, a line seen often repeated by Russia since the Ukraine war started in the context of the United States. Pakistan Foreign Minister Bilawal Bhutto Zardari also arrived in India, 7 years after the last ministerial visit. But there is no one-on-one meeting with Mr. Jaishankar scheduled. That's because India's stand since the Uri terror attack of 2016, Delhi can't have talks while cross-border terror continues.
With this, the attention now shifts to the SCO Foreign Ministers meeting on Friday, a meeting that will decide on 15 agenda items that will be carried forward for the July summit. In the Foreign Ministers meeting itself, will the Ukraine issue come up? Well, that is up to the national statements that are being made by the various countries. It is not on the agenda per se. As per sources, Afghanistan too will not be on the agenda, but any of the countries, if they want, can raise it in their national statements. With camera person Rajendra Dayalkar, this is Maha Siddiqui in Goa for NDTV.
Thanks, Maha. But the other big story, while the Russian foreign minister is currently in Goa, is that Russia has claimed that the United States is behind the planning of what they say is Ukraine's drone attack on the Kremlin and an attempt to assassinate President Putin. The United States State Department, meanwhile, has said this morning that they cannot independently verify who was behind the drone attack on the Kremlin, with Russia saying that Ukraine is just doing what it's told to do.
Определяет не Киев, а их определяют в Вашингтоне и потом доводят эти цели до Киева с тем, чтобы Киев исполнял.
Russia now hitting out at the USA, accusing Washington of orchestrating what it says was a Ukrainian drone strike on the Kremlin on early Wednesday morning, intended to assassinate Russian President Vladimir Putin. Ukraine has resolutely denied any involvement in the said attack, insisting that Russia's claims are simply a pretext to justify another large-scale attack on the war-torn country.
We don't attack Putin or Moscow. We fight on our territory. We are defending our villages and cities.
While the USA has expressed doubt over Russia's claims.
I would take anything coming from the Kremlin and the Russian Federation with a shaker of salt.
Amid these claims, Zelensky made an unexpected visit to The Hague, taking aim at his adversary President Putin, who he accuses of committing over 6,000 war crimes in his country in April alone.
Of course, we all want to see different Vladimir here in The Hague, the one who deserves to be sentenced for these criminal actions right here in the capital of the international law.
However, Moscow has already used this alleged Ukrainian attack to its advantage, with overnight strikes on several Ukrainian cities. 20 people have been killed and almost 50 injured in Kherson, with blasts heard in Kyiv, Zaporizhia and Odessa. Nayantara Singh for NDTV.
Moving to other news, a midnight scuffle, tears and much drama at Jantar Mantar in New Delhi, where some wrestlers have been sitting on protest for over 10 days now. The Supreme Court today, however, refused any further intervention, saying that now the Delhi police had filed FIRs, the case is closed for them, and that wrestlers must go to lower courts or to the high courts.
Dramatic scenes at midnight on Wednesday near Jantar Mantar, where the wrestlers have been protesting for more than 10 days now. Wrestlers alleged that they were physically attacked by Delhi police while trying to get the folding beds for the night.
इतनी इज्जत गिराओगे क्या? हम अपनी मान सम्मान की लड़ाई लड़ रहे हैं और वो फिर धक्के मार रहा है चेस्ट पे लड़कियों कैसे वो पुलिस वाला धर्मेंद्र जो भी है इसी दिन देखने के लिए मेडल लेके आया तो मैं चाहूंगी कि देश का कोई खिलाड़ी मेडल ही ना लेके आए कभी इतनी दूरदर्शी करेगी हमारे यहाँ पे।
उन मेडलों को मैं गुजारिश करूँगा भारत सरकार से आप वापस ले लीजिए। ऐसे मेडल नहीं चाहिए जो देश में ये इज्जत मिलती है। ऐसे मेडलों का क्या करना है जब देश की बहन बेटियां सुरक्षित नहीं, हम सुरक्षित नहीं, ये हमारी रिस्पेक्ट है।
The police have categorically denied any of their men were drunk. And now police sources have cited a video with a different narrative, where a wrestler apparently says the cut on his head has been caused by a fan blade, and claim that the wrestlers deliberately tried to stage a run-in with them by calling politicians to the venue despite knowing that Section 144 was in place. The Supreme Court today refused to intervene in the case, saying that now FIRs have been filed by the Delhi police. The matter was closed in the top court. The protesting wrestlers could go to the High Court or any other local court if they had any complaints. Purpose of the petition before this court was registration of the FIR, which has now been recorded. Having regard to the ambit of the case before us, we close the proceedings now. For any other relief, the petitioners may move the appropriate jurisdictional magisterial court or the High Court.
Scenes from last night seem to have increased the resolve of the protesters, despite Supreme Court closing the plea by the wrestlers. What remains to be seen, whether Brij Bhushan Singh will be arrested or protest will continue here at Jantar Mantar. In New Delhi, with Arvind Gunasekar and camera person Manoj Thakur, Tanishq Punjabi for NDTV.